Hey, Morgan SLV here again. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go over a couple items today. Of course, one of them being silver. Spot on silver today as of 6/23/2010 is 1852. Once again, a little pullback from the other day's high of 1917. Like I say, I kind of look at it as a staircase. Nothing goes straight up, nothing goes straight down. It's going to ratchet up, ratchet down. However, the trend for silver, the trend for gold is definitely on an upswing and has been for quite a while. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. Once again, go ahead and research anything that I say on here. I think it's crucial that you do that. It's important to you. It's important to your family. You never want to take anybody's word for anything. But like I say, I research quite a bit about this stuff. I'm very comfortable with where I've got my little nest egg going there. Let's go over a couple other things here. I'm going to go over currency. One of the things that I found out, I could be wrong on this number, there's roughly been 3,800 currencies in recorded history that have come and gone. As far as money goes, money needs to be able to store value. It also needs to be divisible as far as a unit of measure, so that you can buy the cow, you can buy the oil, you can buy the car, you can buy the bread, you can get a haircut. Gold and silver fulfills those requirements. When you use fiat currency and it continuously gets debased, it forces you as the saver to put your currency at some type of risk in order to keep up with inflation. I think we can all understand that. That's a whole other segment in itself. I mean, when the ERISA Act got passed, it changed, if you had a defined benefit program where you got, let's say, a set $3,000 a month of retirement, and let's say your grandson went to work for that same company and had a DC plan, which was a defined contribution, all of a sudden you, as the saver, are now an investor. And you really have no idea what's going on. I'm running into all my partners, a lot of those guys are, I got one guy, let me give it to you this way. One guy is a marine engineer. I just went and did some work for him through my other business. And in 11 months, he's lost $1 million. He's 66 years old and worried about having to go back to work. That's what happens when you that's what happens when you have volatilities in these markets, and that also what happens when you don't know what you're doing. Now, I'm sure he's a great engineer. I don't think he knows anything about investing, and that's like I say, my heart goes out to him, and I hope he gets that corrected. Let's go over some other stuff. It's important for the money supply. It's important for the money supply to be carefully managed. If not, it could destroy itself through inflation. So you tell me, is the Fed managing our money supply correctly? If it doesn't take an Einstein to figure out that you start throwing around $1 trillion purchases of toxic assets on a regular basis, how long before the dollar collapses? We don't know. I hear everything from a few years. When I first started looking into this stuff, they were all talking 10 years. None of them are talking 10 years anymore. None of them. I mean, it's all a lot sooner than that if we continue on our same road, and I hope we don't. Let's go into Yugoslavia for a minute. This is kind of interesting. 1988 to 1995, the dinar. The government ran a consistent budget deficit. By 1990, it had used up all of its hard currency assets, and then proceeded to loot the accounts of its citizens. Hope that never happens here. At the end of that, in order to keep the party going, they had to print larger and larger bills, ending with a $500 billion dinar note. Now, what this meant is, by this time, inflation was at 37% a day. Prices were roughly doubling every 48 hours. If you saved your hard-earned, your earnings in dinar notes at that period of time, you were broke. You went broke. And so that's why I tell everybody, it's important that if you're going to save, you need to save somewhere outside the U.S., I believe. Peter Schiff, who runs Euro Pacific Capital, is a big believer in, they always ask him, well, you don't invest in stocks? And absolutely, I just do it outside the U.S. He says, one of the things he said that stuck with me, he said, if I was to do it in the U.S., And those companies that were lucky enough to make money, he goes, given our current president, the way they're running things, he goes, what are they going to do to these guys? I mean, is there going to be some kind of a windfall tax that comes out of nowhere and beats up my clients' accounts? He goes, so, I'm just not comfortable with it. And he goes, also, it's a very patriotic thing to do, to attempt to get wealthy, so that when we can stop the madness here, we need Americans with money that can invest in our economy to bring it back. I mean, not everybody can be broke, right? I mean, we need strong, wealthy Americans that can employ people, or at least have their capital go into ventures that can employ people, correct? How did this country become the wealthiest country ever known? Through savings and production. We do neither right now. So that's a problem. So once again, two things that I'm doing. I'm hedging my savings with silver. I'm real comfortable with that. I found a company that spins off capital for me each month. So a company called Site Build It. I suggest you check it out. Once again, the names: Peter Schiff's, Mike Maloney's, DaVinci J15. Get a look at these guys. See what they're doing. Mark Faber. See what they're talking about. And furthermore, if you can, go back in their history. Go back on YouTube. Watch Peter Schiff in 2005 when he was getting laughed at when he said, hey, we're going to be heading into a housing bubble. And they all laughed at him and said, absolutely not. Subprime's going to be a little bit of a problem, but other than that, we're fine. Well, you know what? We weren't fine. We saw what happened with that, correct? So that's kind of my benchmark. It's really neat to have, this recorded history plus their books and whatnot to see how close they were with, how they predicted what was going to happen, and they absolutely did. Especially, like Peter Schiff. I'm so proud of that guy. By the way, he's on the ballot now for his senatorial race in Connecticut, and he's the, they did it through signatures, and he's the first one to do that, I believe, in Connecticut history. So I'm really proud of the guy. I'm happy to have him as one of my teachers. Check him out. Go to shiftforsenate.net, I believe, or .com. Don't quote me on that, but Shift for Senate. It'll come up. He's got his last YouTube channel that he put up already has 4 million hits in about a year. So I mean, the guy's all over the place. He's not hard to find. Definitely give him your support. He's a great candidate. He'd be somebody that we can get in there, maybe pull off a couple of filibusters for us and force them to stop spending like crazy people up there in Washington. Those are just some of the things on my mind today. I like sharing that kind of stuff with you. Sorry that I kind of bumbled through some of my words. I'm not perfect. I'm not, this isn't CNN. This is just me at my house trying to educate the public. I want to make sure that not all of us are broke. I plan not to be. I plan to be able to, help out other people. I believe that you're called to have more than enough so you can help other people. So that's the track we're running on. Until next time, this is Morgan SLV signing out. Have a great day.